Dominic Szoboslai is a player that the majority of Newcastle United fans would absolutely love to see sign for the club over the summer. However, according to reports this morning, it looks like Newcastle aren't prepared to meet the €70 million release clause that he currently has. Of course, that ends on Friday. We've got more news on Livramento. Talks look like they're in an advanced stage for the fullback. Paulo Di Canio has been interviewed and has suggested that the Tonali signing is a wonderful one for Newcastle United and given us an indication of where he might play next season. James Maddison, it seems, has agreed terms with Tottenham Hotspur. Romano has tweeted that out. Rigg, who was heavily linked with Newcastle United, of course, in the winter transfer window, looks like he's going to be staying at Sunderland. And finally, Bruno, has he given an indication to the Newcastle fans that he is about to sign a new deal? Let's dive in. This is the Daily News. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Toon Review YouTube channel. My name is Paul and this is the Daily News. Before we get cracking, as usual, if you do enjoy today's show, please do give it the thumbs up. It is vitally important we stay in the search results for those fans that can find us and hopefully subscribe in the future. If you are new and like what you see, please do subscribe. It is free to do so, and also hit that notification bell which will let you know when we go live or we upload any future videos. Right, let's look at the main one, SZOBOSZLAI Too Expensive. Reports have come out this morning saying that we're not prepared to meet the release clause of Dominic Szoboslai. It's a very strange release clause. It ends on Friday. It's €70 million. But according to the reports, we are not prepared to meet that after what we've just spent on Tonali. So it's an interesting one for me. It's a strange release clause. I've never seen one that ends on a certain date. Normally when a release clause goes into a contract, they normally keep it for the rest of that contract. But it's not working like that. Newcastle look like they value the player more like 55 to 60 million euros. And yes, a lot of people will come out and say, well, it's only €10 million difference. Why don't we just step up and meet the price? But we have to be careful, guys. We know what FFP is like. We know that it's a very difficult situation for Newcastle. Every deal they negotiate at the moment, they are having to maybe put staggered payments and workarounds for the FFP, because we know, and we've said this many times before, that Newcastle United, whoever they sign, are going to be under extreme scrutiny to make sure that they stay under the FFP umbrella, if you like, because if we step out of line, we just know that the fines will come, the points deductions will come. They'll do everything to punish Newcastle United, more so than they have done with any team in the past. We've seen FFP rules broken before, and not necessarily massive fines or points deductions. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the Everton one, of course, later on this year. Do they get a points deduction? Do they get a fine, etc.? So it's very important that we stay sensible and we don't push the limits too far, which is probably why they don't want to advance the extra €10 million at the moment, because they've spent a fortune on Tonali. Of course, they will want to structure a deal. Now, that's not to say that this deal is dead in the water, of course, because what may happen is once that release clause runs out, Newcastle United may start negotiations at a cheaper price. Now, you may say that's a bit crazy because we could lose the player. But if we can get him on a lower fee, which fits our FFP, then it'll be a lot easier for the club to negotiate. Leipzig, obviously, you know, they're not going to ask for pittance for this player. Look, he's 22-year-old, he's Hungarian captain, he's a wonderful player. And he'd be absolutely incredible signing for Newcastle United. But it's very difficult at the moment. We splashed out on Tonali, who is one of the marquee signings of the summer. There's no doubt about that. But whether we go back in for Szoboszlai now is all up in the air. I mean, what would you do? I know, you know, a lot of you will say, well, just pay the 10 million extra. But maybe we are under restrictions of FFP that we just can't do that. So let me know in the comments, would you keep going for him? Or would it be time to look elsewhere again? Maddison, Szoboszlai, have those ships sailed for Newcastle United? Now, the TINO Livramento deal, that came out of nowhere yesterday. Reported that we have offered £12 million plus Ryan Fraser. Of course, Fraser frozen out at Newcastle United. It would probably be a good move for him. Back down to the South Coast, of course, he spent a lot of years at Bournemouth, and playing in the Championship would probably be about his level now. He's got to have the right attitude or he's not going to have any further career in football. He's blown it with Eddie Howe at Newcastle. He blew it at Bournemouth with Eddie Howe as well. And he's got to move on. And this may seem like the perfect opportunity for him as well. Now, Livramento, of course, 20-year-old, very, very good fullback. Played very well for Southampton last season in a number of games. I've watched a lot of them and certainly watched him again on highlights this morning. He looks a very good player. Now, you may say that we're overdone with right-backs and things like that, but we're forgetting that there is players going to be leaving the club eventually. I know there's no rumours of any players leaving at the moment, but they will leave at a certain point. I'm sure that a couple of right-backs will be leaving. The possibility Kraft might be on his way, Manquillo. I'm not sure what the plans are for Harrison Ashby, whether he's going out on loan or whether they've got other options for him this coming season. But it's interesting. The clubs apparently are reportedly not in agreement with a fee yet. There's some way off agreeing. I think that's just a formality. I think Southampton will want, rightly so, as much money as they can for the player. Newcastle United will stick by what they think the valuation of the player is. We know that Newcastle won't stretch to this Newcastle tax anymore that we spoke about many times in previous transfer windows. That's not going to happen. They'll be very sensible again, talking about FFP with Szoboszlai. They'll do the same with Livramento, but a very, very good option for Newcastle United. Now, hopefully, they'll agree a fee and that one can get wrapped up very quickly because apparently talks are very advanced with the player and it's only a question now of the teams agreeing some sort of fee. Now, Paulo Di Canio, very, very interesting character in the past, of course, and the fact that he managed our bitter rivals as well. And of course, no one will forget his knee sliding at St James's Park, etc. However, he has come out and said that the move for Tonali to Newcastle United is an absolutely wonderful one. He thinks that Tonali is making the right move. He's going to a team which has lots of ambition, that are on the road to winning lots of things. And Tonali can be a big part of that. Now, what he did state in the interview is that he thinks Tonali won't be used as a number 6. He says he'll be used as a number 8. That's where he sees Tonali's future being, in the number 8 position. And it seems like Di Canio's talking about maybe replacing Longstaff. Now, we have said many, many times on our show that, there's going to be a lot of games next season. So, the rotation is going to be very, very important. That's not to say that Sean Longstaff will be ousted and never seen in the first team again. We know that there's a lot of games. So rotation is going to be a big part of that. And Di Canio mentioned it himself in the interview. He said that he doesn't expect Tonali to play every single game, of course, because of the size of the squad that Newcastle United are now building. They have that opportunity to rotate. And that will be of benefit to Tonali as well. So we get plenty rest during what will be a very, very busy season. He expects him to do very, very well. But what he also said was that he can see Federico Chiesa joining Newcastle United in this transfer window. I thought that was very interesting. It was just added on to the end of the interview. And he thinks that he'd be a fantastic signing for Newcastle United, playing in a front three with either, he mentioned Wilson and Isak, of course, but whoever he plays up front with. Chiesa is a very, very good player. And he thinks that moving to the Premier League might just kickstart his career again. Obviously, Juventus, there's a lot going on at Juventus at the moment, isn't there, with, again, being a little bit of a naughty club. So are they going to get relegated again? Are they going to get a massive points deduction, which leads to relegation? So Chiesa will have that in the back of his mind as well. But very interesting of Di Canio to come out and say such positive things about Newcastle United, and certainly pushing Tonali, saying that it's a wonderful signing to a wonderful club. So very nice reading that. Could the James Maddison saga be coming finally to an end? Fabrizio Romano and many, many other people have put out on social media, into the press, etc., that James Maddison has apparently agreed terms with Tottenham Hotspur. Now, that's not to say that Tottenham have agreed any sort of fee with Leicester yet. It seems like they're going in with £50 million fee with add-ons, which will lead up to £60 million. I think it's absolutely bizarre. I really do. 60 million quid for James Maddison. Yes, he's a very good player. Yes, I highly rate him. Yes, I would love him at Newcastle United. But 60 million quid, I think, is pushing the boat. I think Leicester, considering they've just been relegated, are getting a wonderful deal if that is indeed what the fee is going to be. But it puts to bed the Maddison saga, doesn't it? We know that it's been hovering around for quite a couple of seasons now, really, since the takeover. Every transfer window, James Maddison has been mentioned with a move to Newcastle. Of course, many people have put on that, going away with England, Trippier and Wilson, etc., in his ear about what a wonderful club Newcastle United is. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Now, we did say as well, if that didn't happen, it would concentrate more on the Szoboszlai deal. But then again, I've just reported there, we're not prepared to pay the 70 million euro release clause for him. So it's all up in the air at the moment. Daniel Levy, they reckon it is a panic for him because he doesn't want to lose out on getting Maddison. So he's going to just basically give Leicester what they want. Newcastle United, of course, work differently to that. It's not going to happen. It looks like he's going to sign for Tottenham, which will then lead to other prospects. But what do you reckon? I mean, is this whole Maddison and Szoboszlai thing now just fading away? Is it going to be dead in the water? Newcastle may be looking at other players that we don't know about, of course. The Livramento one came out of nowhere. Tonali came out of nowhere. There was no links anywhere for these players. And it may well be a case of that will happen again. But let me know what you think about that one. Now, Sunderland's star youngster Chris Rigg was highly linked with Newcastle United in the January transfer window. Not so much for a transfer in the winter, but certainly in this summer's window. However, reports have come out within yesterday and today that it looks like he's going to be staying at Sunderland. I'm not sure how his dad will feel about that because his dad is well known to be a massive Newcastle United fan, but obviously he'll want the best for his son. Maybe he's had, he's been told by Sunderland that he's going to get games, despite the fact I think he's only 16, but he's going to be around the first team next season. He's got a big future ahead of him. I can understand that in a way. Certainly playing in the Championship, he'll probably have more opportunities in the first team than he would if he did sign for Newcastle United. So that could be another one that disappears down the river now. So Chris Rigg, he might look back in 5-6 years' time and think, God, I should have signed for Newcastle. Or he may well be a future captain of Sunderland. Who knows? He's very, very highly rated. So, yeah, that one looks like it's gone as well. And finally, is Bruno going to sign a new contract? It certainly looks that way. He's posted out on social media over the last couple of days when he's been on holiday. He's had his bucket hat on with his own face on. He had an old Newcastle United brown ale Adidas Newcastle top on yesterday. He was pictured, of course. And he's also put on social media that he can't wait for the new season to get going and playing in the Champions League, of course. And he's, it's a video of him celebrating goals and things like that. Now, that may well indicate to us that he is going to 100% be staying. I've had no question about that over the summer. Everybody that suggested, Real Madrid are doing this or Barcelona doing this, Bruno's never once indicated that he's going to leave Newcastle United this summer. Not once. Yes, he's in interviews, he said what he wants to aspire to in the future, but why can't he do that with Newcastle United? If we're bringing in all these players, we're in the Champions League, etc., he could be a future captain at Newcastle United. He could be a future legend at Newcastle United. He's already got magnificent status with the Newcastle United fans already. That will only grow. And I think he knows that. So for him to put that out on social media, I truly believe that means that Bruno is staying at Newcastle United for the next few seasons at least, and is going to sign a new contract. What would you do with the contract, though? What would you say to Bruno would be a good contract offer, and how many years? Would you try and tie him down to a multi-year deal, or just sit down with him and say, right, Bruno, what do you want? We're building this team around you. You're the spine of the team, playing in that number 6 role. What do you want? Let me know in the comments below. But there you go. That is the daily news for today. Now, tonight, if you're watching this on Tuesday, we have a very special show. We're going to start bringing some guests on once or twice a week to talk about Newcastle United's transfer window and the season ahead. Our first guest tonight is the main man. Adam Pearson is coming on. My old mucker, my good mate Adam is coming on. That show will be at 7 o'clock. Me and Alex will be hosting that one, and of course joined by Adam from 7 o'clock. So don't miss that. That's going to be an absolutely cracking show. We've got watch-alongs coming up this week as well. We've got more transfer shows. So get yourself subscribed. It is free to do so. Hit that subscribe button. Come and join this wonderful community that we have on the Toon Review, and also hit that notification bell, which will let you know whenever we upload videos or we schedule in live shows. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys, if you have enjoyed the show today. Vitally important that we stay up there. You can also become a member of the Toon Review by hitting the join button just underneath. That will support the channel every month, but it will also put you in for members prizes, which we give out on a regular basis on the channel. And of course, you can super chat the channel even when we're not on air. There's a thanks button just along from the thumbs up if you want to donate to the channel. So thank you in advance for all that, guys. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you soon. Take care.